I'm way too shocking positive in this game. Comic Miguel was never this shocking cheerful. Maybe I'm the one from the time storm. Cronstone is that weird scorpion, not Venom. But then I do mention the goblin. If I was original Miguel, I'd have Mjolnir by now, right? Shock this.
Welcome to another episode of the Panel Pals. We're your co-host, I'm MN Stash.
And I'm Skull Ryan.
And today is part 2 of the Panel Pals play through the Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions game. We're up to Spider-Man 2099 now. We did the amazing one last time. He wasn't that amazing, to be honest. It was quite boring.
It was standard, I suppose. Standard Spider-Man fare.
Yeah, it was just bread.
Yeah. But
now this
one's
very bread.
Mate, this is 2099. Even just for the aesthetic alone, it's worth a playthrough.
I feel like that is probably my favorite part of his missions, is how the city looks.
Beautiful, like it's... The fact we don't have a full... I know we got Edge of Time, but they could have easily made a 2099 a solo game.
It's like, do you just try to look out for the Easter eggs upon the billboards and shit like that? Because I always try to see what reference they're gonna have to a Marvel character.
Yeah, but it's all 616 Marvel characters. 2099's got its own Doctor Strange and everything, but all the billboards are just Wolverine and
Storm, Hulk.
Yeah, the
Black
regular.
Cat. The Black Cat's interesting considering Edge of Time and how that went out.
Yeah, this is the same world, isn't it? Because they make reference to this game.
Thank God they didn't keep the voice actor of this one.
It's funny that though, because you wouldn't think the Black Cat would have that much of an impact to be remembered in 2099. She's not a massive. She's literally just a bear guy. Occasional hero.
Unless because they're so obsessed with the superheroes of yesterday, they're like, oh, she was hot and she fought Spider-Man.
Yeah, that she was hot is probably why they did it, if we're being honest. They even give it little kitty cat fans.
Oh, in Edge of Time, yeah.
Yeah, they make a cat girl, Black Cat. So I can't
it was
complain.
Weird for Peter though, because he was basically just wanting a person he could sleep with constantly.
Yeah.
My hot ex-girlfriend that died. Well, not anymore.
Ooh. Need to keep dying on him. Grim.
Not as bad as Daredevil. Poor guy, man.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Daredevil looks at a woman and she dies.
Well, okay, we got Karen Page became drug addict, porn star, died. Black Widow had a moment where she thought she was poison. Who's the blind woman? I keep forgetting how to pronounce her name. She's in a mental ward now.
I just know Heather Glenn.
Heather Glenn's committed suicide.
It's suicide.
O'Brien. Did O'Brien survive? Was she the only one that actually managed to live a normal life?
I know Kirsten McDuffie had a fake out death when a train exploded, but she wasn't on it. So...
What about does Foggy's wife count? Because she knew Matt.
Ooh.
Becomes a slave to Mike Sin.
You mean Biker's wife?
Yeah, he owns her now.
What do you reckon Biker Sin or his descendants are doing in 2099?
They're probably still they just reproduce in time, and then they immediately die from a bad diet afterwards. It's just this cycle.
They own a shit restaurant chain. Sin Kitchen.
Where was Micah Sin's billboard?
Exactly, dude.
We got Storm was cool because she was the Weather Channel. But then it's Sin deserved his own Sin board. What would you say is your favorite mission from 2099?
I think probably the Dr. Octopus one. It's a bit like a James Bond movie type of deal. But to be fair, they all seem to have different feels to it. Like the Scorpion level is like a horror level. It's like you play an Alien with all the little scorpion monsters running around destroying the city.
Yeah, I totally get that, and I want to say before I forget, did you notice sort of like reuse in a way, like for later on, is what I mean. With the Scorpion mission, I thought it looked really similar to how they did the goo in the Amazing Spider-Man game.
Oh, definitely, dude.
It like
Beenox
some
again.
of the areas look just the same.
Yeah, some
And
reused assets going on.
and did
That
you
was only
notice?
2 years.
But even the Doc Ock final battle, did it look familiar to you when she was in that sort of room? Did it
It
look like
did.
the PS1 game?
Yeah, she's got the shield and everything.
Even that same like circle in the middle and the
Yeah.
and you have to try and it's the exact same because you even like she powers down and sits in the middle of that thing, and then you have to go and attack her.
When are they going to remake that masterpiece?
They don't have the balls to do it.
I mean,
Like,
not
they don't
in
have the
modern
balls
day,
to remake.
mate.
Where's like the Punisher game?
It wouldn't be Captain America saving you at the end nowadays, mate. It would be Miles Morales.
It'd be
Ugh.
probably an MCU like costume design of Loki coming in Miles Morales.
It'd be Venom would kidnap Paul. And Venom would be Dylan Brock instead of Eddie.
Wait, I don't know about you, but when I go on like Marvel section of Disney Plus and I see that roster of heroes, I just feel so deflated.
I'm just not interested in anything
Mate,
spitting out
like
now, dude.
their Marvel roster has Loki really in the forefront,
The villain, Loki, in the fucking
but he's wearing
forefront.
his like a TVA jacket. He's not even in costume. It's just Tom Hiddleston. There's just no actor. It's shocking, mate. I can't stand.
He's shocking. Nice. Good reference.
Shocking out. He doesn't swear much, which I got annoyed at.
Yeah, mate. It's this Miguel. I do not believe to be the mainline comic book Miguel. As we've said, he's too happy. And he's got different history.
But do they think that maybe the actor couldn't play like more of an angry sort of Spidey?
Not at all, dude. Imagine this voice. Like, have you read in 2099 after Venom in the comic kills Miguel's girlfriend, he traps the fella who is Venom without the symbiote and beats the shock out of him. And as he's doing it, he's saying to him like, "You're disgusting. You're a piece of shit." Like, proper rips into him. I could not imagine this voice talking all that shit towards Venom.
He'd ask him like he'd be like upset if his joke didn't land. This is the type of Miguel we got.
This Miguel in this is just another Peter.
But even he just doesn't sound anything like, ignoring his tone, the voice actor isn't really a good choice.
Yeah. Which is sad because I bet you, like, he was the guy from Amazing Friends and I believe the one from 87. So he is someone's Spider-Man.
I would have just rathered if they had Christopher Daniel Barnes as
Just do both.
Even if you got the Amazing Friends guy just to do...
Oh, mate, genuinely.
Noir.
Reno Romano.
He would have been perfect. But he's
he
also...
got left out to this.
He would have been a better fit for Miguel, because aren't they both like, you know... are they both Hispanic?
He was Batman as well, so he could have just done his Batman voice from the Batman.
He would have been so
and it probably would have fit a lot better. No disrespect to, I think his name's Dan Galvin. No. I think his name's Dan, the fella who voices 2099. There's no disrespect, like, as I say, he's probably someone's Spider-Man. But Reno Romano would have been a well better choice and kept in with the theme of all the voice actors being old cartoon voices.
He would have been perfect. If you were going to go for a previous Spidey actor, he would have been the guy to pick.
And he's got all the best lines as well, mate. I'm already at full health.
The old trusty spider armor.
Have you
Bring
heard?
back my wife, you freak.
Oh, that was boss, mate. Have you heard? I think if you die fighting Dr. Octopus in the PS1, he goes into detail on how to shut down the shield, and it takes about 5 minutes for him to finish his speech.
No way.
He's like, normally in a video game you'll die, and then the character will be like, maybe if I do this, it'll do this. And obviously it works. Well, Peter's like, that shield looks like it runs on an electromagnetic wavelength. Maybe if I press that button over there with my web and the triangle button. It's like, dude, where's the adventure if you're telling me how to do it?
Yeah, at the end of the game, and he's still telling you what buttons to press.
Yeah. I can lock on with L1. Imagine you're fighting Spider-Man, like in real life. You're robbing something and you're fighting Spider-Man, and he suddenly starts saying, if I press the triangle button, I should be able to web him up.
Well, like, imagine the Arkham death scenes, and then Penguin's like, "Oh, Batman, if you press triangle to counter quickly, you would have knocked out my men. But good thing you didn't."
Quick, fire the explosive Jill to destroy Grundy's apparatus.
Yeah, but don't, because I want to win.
Yeah.
I think, for me, when I look at 2099's, I found probably the demonic cum villain the best.
Mate, I don't know what a kumquat is. Is it a vegetable?
Fruit, I think. What are you, the demonic kumquat? But like, it's got the actor he played the Goblin, didn't he?
Yeah, I think it's Steve Blum.
He's
known for Wolverine.
Well, he went private on Twitter, I think, recently. I don't know why he's on that.
Yeah, he was the Green Goblin in Spectacular Spider-Man. But I used to think he was Norman Osborn as well, but he died the other day, didn't he?
Yeah, it was different people, but the Norman actor had such a good voice for him.
He did.
And he was like the only one that properly voiced him for a while, besides the animated series.
Yeah. And the guy from the animated series, he did both, didn't he? He did the Goblin and
I'm not sure.
Norman.
When we get to that episode, we'll know for certain. But
yeah, it was quite a while.
I don't remember.
I loved in Spectacular how always serious, never smiling, deep-voiced Norman was behind the mask of this high-pitched, ridiculous monster. The difference between... You'd never suspect it's Norman Osborn unless you'd read the comic.
He's so athletic as well, mate. He's just jumping around.
And when he bullshits about breaking his leg... You what, sir?
You can't forget about how at the end where he's wearing the blonde wig and shit.
He gets away with it. Don't know what it is about Spider-Man cartoons and having like grim endings. But in Spectacular Spider-Man, the Goblin gets away clean.
Yeah, well, if it's a show that gets cancelled, I don't think the ending's ever been good for Spider-Man.
Yeah, even the animated series, mate. He still doesn't find Mary Jane. You just go off. Madam Web goes, right, you've done.
Just really depressing.
Yeah. Don't get me started on the new animated series. Ooh. Coming soon. I'm sure you have noticed by now, but in celebration of the cyberpunk future of 2099, we do have a robot voice filter.
It's definitely making its presence known, isn't it?
Oh, it's Flipside, ladies and gentlemen.
I love when he makes that joke, though. Like, this one's more crazy than Flipside.
Yeah, a bit of talking about the law of 2099.
The only time it's relevant in his missions is that one joke.
Yes,
besides that, it means nothing.
All these villains, except for, even Scorpion, dude, the Hobgoblin is a creation for this game. Miguel never fought a Hobgoblin. The same with this version of Dr. Octopus, because the other one's like some Atlantean scientist. And Scorpion in this game, Kron Stone, is the version from the reboot of 2099 from 2009 called Time Storm. Because in normal 2099, Cron Stone was Venom. So all three villains in this are not canon to the actual mainline Miguel.
Act like it just feels really distinct. Nothing about it links to anything, and even like we said with the Amazing Spider-Man, where he's sort of just not scared of Kraven.
Yeah, when he should be shitting himself.
If anything, Kraven was a joke in that.
Yesterday, I read a bit of Grim Hunt, which was from the same time Shattered Dimensions came out. And in that story, when Kraven's family are killing all the other spiders, respect. Peter's absolutely shitting himself the whole time. And then you look at this game that come out the same year and also has him fighting Kraven. And this is meant to be the same universe. And Peter's taking the piss, jumping rings around him.
Yeah, he has an army, and that doesn't stop Spidey at all. He just makes more jokes about it. It doesn't.
But Kraven's wife and daughter and his stupid, fully lion son give him all sorts of shit.
It's so shit. I do like, though, how the Doc Ock for the game was basically just the one from the 90s.
Yeah, it's Carolyn.
It's just almost the same person. They look the same.
Mad scientist.
They act pretty much the same.
Tara
But they
Strong
were probably the
there.
funniest one. They were definitely the funniest pairing.
Oh, yeah, mate, because they couldn't, she couldn't stand him, but she was so desperate to impress him as well.
Yeah. What do you mean, meh? I've seen a bunch of these before.
Oh, yeah.
No, you haven't. This is the only one in existence. Meh.
Oh, mate. She was fuming. The whole,
at the end, the
relationship with them two was bust. And even at the end when he catches her and he's like, she likes me, I can tell. I prefer this Doc Ock to the comic one. The comic one was a bit of a, loser. Doesn't really do anything to earn the name Dr. Octopus.
She seems really powerful in this, because even when you're doing the free fall section and all these, pink tentacles are going through the walls.
Oh, I thought that was cool as hell.
But, that's her, though. It has to be her controlling them.
Yeah, yeah. She says it's like a security system she's designed. But, the fact she's went all in on the theme.
It looks just like her own weapons. And
she created the Hobgoblin. This is the type of shit I think Alchemax should have been doing in the book 2099.
Promised Scorpion it should cure him.
Yeah, she's the mastermind behind the 2099 part.
Remember when you see the logo of Alchemax and Miguel's like,
oh yeah,
all my years working here. They copied the Avengers.
Yeah, they just stole the A with the arrow from the fucking Avengers. Crafty, mate. They probably bought the rights.
Did you like the free fall sections?
They added a nice bit of. I liked it when you would catch up to the villain, like in the Hobgoblin level, yeah. Because you caught up to him, beat the shit out of him as you're falling, and you could smash him into the cars and that. Thought that was a cool added.
Well, Ultimate had the symbiote. Miguel had free fall. Noir had stealth, but then Amazing again doesn't have really anything.
No, I mean nothing to set him apart.
It's just a hating train for the Amazing Spider-Man.
We're starting to see what Marvel would become in the coming years. This mistreatment of Peter Parker Spider-Man.
And then in Edge of Time, he's the sickest character ever. It just doesn't make sense how.
Boss, that bit in Edge of Time where he tells Miguel that if he's not saving the innocents, he's got no point calling himself Spider-Man.
Yeah, because he actually acted more like Miguel in that.
Yeah.
I do think, overall, I still think Amazing's last, and I'll maybe put 2099. I'd put him second last out of the four.
Would you? I think I'd put him second.
Who would you have third last?
Noir, just because they don't give you much variety of gameplay with Noir. If you don't stealth when they want you to stealth, you die. Like in Batman Arkham, if I'm in a Predator encounter, I can just jump in and start cape stunning and doing what I want to do. But in this, if a thug sees you and starts shooting you, all you can do is run away.
Yeah, that's a fair thing. I mean, I just think that maybe, well, for me, it's like he has more of his own niche, I guess.
Yeah.
So it makes him, for me, it makes him a bit more interesting to play as. Even though it does shit me when I can't, I can't bash someone.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like, at least Noir gets these two distinct ways of playing.
Yeah, and then whereas, like, again, Amazing has nothing going for him.
Damn it. Poor fella.
I always find the heavy attacks in this game just so useless.
Yeah, you may as well just spam the light.
Well, because also, like, if you do a full combo of the light attack, you can almost guarantee knocking out certain enemies. But if you do a full combo of the heavy attack, they still don't go down.
And literally, I know there's quick attack and long attack, but the quick attack is so much quicker. Like, you could spam a full chain of like 6 light punches in the time it takes you to do 3 heavy.
But also, I said this last time, and it happened again when I was playing through the missions. The heavy attacks knocks the person back too far, to the point where they're not in range for like the second heavy attack.
Yeah. It's redundant.
And do you have like a lot of glitches with yours?
What type of glitches? Like thugs not loading in?
No, my one was more like, say for the final mission with the Doc Ock one.
Yeah.
Miguel, you know when she has that giant mechanical arm and you have to try and like do that Grundy mission thing?
Oh, yeah.
I somehow teleported outside of the barrier because he clipped through the thing. And then I've had stuff where the enemies get stuck in a wall and you can't fight them. I've had Miguel just got frozen and he was sort of like everyone was attacking him, but he was just sort of standing there in a pose.
I did have one, you know, where you've got to web up certain when you're destroying computers and that, and you have to like line on the Wii version anyway. You've got to use the sensor bar to line up where he's going to shoot the web, and then pull it yourself. And I thought it was my sensor bar at first because obviously the Wii's from 2005, but it just wasn't registering the tap.
It doesn't. Even like on console, mate, the amount of times I have struggled to throw a barrel or those shitty little eggs at someone because the lock-on feature is so god awful.
Targeting with them eggs. I didn't collect every spider emblem because I don't have the patience to sling a shittily aimed toxic egg at every wall.
I even ran out of eggs for one wall, and I had no choice but to just leave it behind. It's shit, mate. It was like the worst thing.
Yeah, the controls are a bit goopy in this. But how much of 2099 itself, Spider-Man specifically, have you read?
I've read about the first 20 or so of his volume 1 because I own those issues.
Yeah.
It has been a while since I've read them, but I'm not as well versed. I'm only more like Peter Parker. I've read everything.
Yeah.
But you've read all of Miguel, haven't you?
I have. I've read all the classic stuff all the way through until it ends rather abruptly. Atlantis attacks, Miguel's mum dies, and then it just ends after like it's only like 46 issues as well. Oh, but yeah, there you go. He truly was a Spider-Man, because once again. But this game's Dr. Octopus in particular is what I kind of wish Alchemax was in the comic. In the comic, they do control everything, but he keeps hiring like random mercenaries. Like, you know the guy in issue 1?
Almost like how Oscorp would make villains in like certain franchises like Sony and shit.
Yeah, but it makes more sense when like the super high-tech bio company are doing it rather than just some chemical factory. But in
So
the actual
robot
comic,
voice is going on
yeah, we're going
crazy,
a
right?
bit crankly, aren't we? In the actual comic,
Chuck.
all Tyler Stone does is hire mercenaries. Like, what's his name? The cowboy from the start. From issue 1 of, not Cyber.
Oh, the one that chases him through the city.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name, but I remember the story.
Well, anyway. Yeah, it's like issue 2 of Miguel's story has him fight this cowboy robot who Alchemax have hired. And then later on, he hires some samurai to fight him instead. But instead of hiring already, like, established villains, Alchemax should have been looking into making their own, like in this, where she makes the Hobgoblin.
Well, I think they could have even gotten away with copying the game for like the later series.
Yeah.
And they just do that duck off for them.
Have you seen the 2099 Sinister Six?
I haven't, no. Yeah, what is it? What's
they
that
were
team?
shit. We had Cronstone Venom, the Atlantean Dr. Octopus, Cyborg Electro, Sand, get onto this, Wokies, Woman, and the Goblin. I think I've missed someone else. Was that 6? Anyway, literally none of them are actual 2099 villains because they're all just remakes of amazing villains. There's no Flip Side. There was no Venture. Venture was his name.
But why are they allergic to like his own shit?
Yeah, like a Sinister Six for Miguel should look more like Flip Side and Venture, and I think he kills that samurai guy, so maybe not him. Vulture, definitely though, dude. Vulture 2099. He was hardcore. But we couldn't have him because we've already got a cannibal vulture in Noir, don't we?
It just seems a bit pointless by them. See, I mean, he's going to be a disadvantage for basically just being a rip-off of Peter. You know, he's using the Spidey name. But you have to give him his own characters to set him apart.
That's one of my favourite things about 2099. So they weren't afraid to make new dudes. Like, Ultimate's good, but it's still just the same old characters we've been seeing.
Don't get me started on Miles Morales.
Oh.
Miles Morales, the person with no actual original villains.
And the ones he does have is shit, like that Ice Pharaoh.
Mate, even just like the way they've claimed the Prowler is insane. No one remembers Hobie Brown.
I know. Poor Hobie. Now, Hobie's more well known now for being Spider-Man, isn't he?
I can't stand that.
It's awful.
The poor guy.
Speaking of Spider-Verse, Miguel and Mayday are the only two I really accept as like carrying on Spidey's legacy.
The Mayday Park is tainted for me.
Yeah, I know you mean.
But like, I don't know, the mission is all three were just sort of, they were more enjoyable than amazing, but at the same time, it just didn't do it for me as much. I'm just not sure if I like the gameplay. I think that has a major thing to do with why I just don't get that engaged.
I see.
The gameplay it feels really repetitive and tedious and unpolished.
Yeah, you go here, you fight a guy. Then you climb up this, you fight a guy.
And then, you know, even their gimmicks have repeated over and over and over again.
Is there a free fall section in the Scorpion bit?
Yeah, but there
is.
Facing
and it's
the
quite
other
cool.
way.
Yeah, you go and you got to dodge like the fallen ship coming down at you.
I could have sworn I didn't hit the ship, but for some reason it just it kept hitting me.
Speaking of, you know, in like the very start of the Dr. Octopus level where you escape in the fire, and the girl goes, "Is it hot in here or is it just me?" And then on my one, he said it like 3 times on the run.
yeah, he does. They do that in this game.
Yeah.
They constantly
quote.
repeat themselves. Like I said in the last one, like ashes to ashes, sand to sand. It's like, shut up, Peter. You have nothing else to add. Did you have a favorite costume you'd use for Miguel?
I really like just as normal costume, so I stuck with that here. But I know he's also
works the
got
best.
a good selection, doesn't he? Flip side, mate. There's a nice, another nice reference to his own
Iron
adventures.
Spider he's got, and the spider armor,
Yeah.
which all should have went to Peter instead of Miguel.
Well, yeah. That's why Peter's got shit ones in it. Everyone else got the good ones.
They
Except for
could have given
Ultimates.
us like a normal 2099 costume as a additional suit, where it's like just actually black.
I was just going to say, just give us 2099 black, please.
This game, I feel like, started that whole downfall of his suit color. Because
It
it's
could have
almost
done.
like they...
Yeah, good. This was his first big showing, wasn't it? After his comic ended.
But it's literally like, they searched up 2099 on Google comic, saw that, that looks blue, and then just copy and pasted it. They didn't actually read the books.
Why has it got that weird, like, high-tech neon glow?
They made it more of like an actual piece as opposed
It's
to
an
just
armor now, isn't it? Yeah, it's not just fabric; it's armor.
I really don't like how the other suits copy it as well. Like, I don't want to see the spider armor glowing like that.
Yeah, why is it glowing? Yeah,
suit.
I fully agree. And then, like, when you've got a suit like
nice.
Iron Spider that's red and yellow, there's no blue on it, and yet it's still humming blue. They should have given us 2099 black, and that bit from issue 2 where Miguel's in just like his bathrobe and like a hoodie when he's a messenger of Thor. Nice. Flip side, defo. Flip side should have been in it. If instead of Scorpion rampaging, it was Flip side, mate.
Oh yeah, as a villain.
Yeah.
They had an original character right there. I said no. Yeah.
Is this Miguel's first big show after his comics finished? Because his comic finishes, I think, in like the early 2000s, if it even made it to 2000.
So. Well, he would have had a cartoon if Marvel had the balls to not.
He should have, dude. That would have been sick. I like the theme song of Unlimited, but
it suits him so well, though. To me, it's like
it needed to be Miguel's time to shine.
It's just like, how are they too scared? Because they're going to be like, oh, it's going to be too similar to Batman Beyond. It's like, you guys copy each other all the time. Why are you going to stop now?
Batman Beyond was sick. Who cares if it's like Batman Beyond? It's a good thing, if anything. But,
did you see the fan film?
No. Fan film?
It came out like the other day.
It's recommended, dude. Isn't this? Loomis
but you know they got good actors? They got good actors.
Way.
You know the Beast Boy from Titans?
Oh, yeah.
He's playing Terry McGinnis.
They got real actors for it, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. That'll be me later then.
It's only 10 minutes long.
Oh, the fact that Sony have decided to make animated big Spider-Verse team-up films instead of doing individual films for different spiders is one of life's greatest disappointments. If instead of that Spider-Verse franchise we had a 2099 movie just about him, that would have just made my day.
If they even characterized him remotely similar to the way they did in the Spider-Verse movies?
True, actually. I might be wishing for my own disappointment there. If Sony
at least we got Nicolas Cage playing Spider-Man Noir soon in a live-action show.
In live action. And his name's like Ben Reilly in it, isn't he?
I can't imagine him jumping from like car to car.
Dude. Ghost Rider himself as a 10. I'll give it a go, but what the hell are they thinking with that?
It's weird because I would have just preferred them to do an animated movie in the style of their Spider-Verse animation.
Yeah.
and then just have Nicolas Cage return as the voice actor, and then it's like, no, we're gonna
Like, no,
we're
let's
gonna
make him
have
jump cut. Do you reckon it'll follow the comic at all? Because Madam Web
no.
didn't.
It's set in the future. It's set like or it's like when he's older now.
Oh, Christ.
So it's what's a rugged Spider-Man post Great Depression like?
Will we be getting Cannibal Vulture? Oh no, I saw the thing actually. The casting call's got like Sandman, but he's not the Sandman.
Is it like like the what's that one movie? The James Cameron Spider-Man
Yeah.
movie where it's like
Yeah.
different name.
Yeah, mate. He's more Flint Martin than Flint Martin.
No, it's sad that no one will understand that.
It'll come through. We'll get him. But it was like they call him Sandman because he falls asleep and wakes up evil or some shit.
So shit. It's so.
Yeah, it's not going to be spectacular.
What was your least favorite mission from Miguel?
Scorpion, I think. Like,
Yeah,
I was more.
it was sort of the most. It was more just monster type.
Yeah,
It didn't
it was
really
like I'm
expand.
suddenly playing a different game because now it's is it Alien Isolation, the game where you're like on the spaceship getting hunted and there's just a load of monsters. It felt like a big xenomorph was taking over the city, and then the police were in a big a war with these scorpion monsters, and then it just kind of ended. Like 2099 is apparently a nightmare to live in.
I do like with these set designs how his city is so modern and busy. You got Spidey swinging through the air. You got all these cars chasing after, yet no one gives a shit. Everyone's just trying to get on.
Yeah, they got work.
They just don't care.
I think as well,
Well,
a big aspect. Go on.
Does it all take place in the same building? Because it just felt like everything was. It looked all the same.
Oh, it defo did, mate.
Just because it's in the future doesn't mean everything's blue inside.
Yeah, even like level to level, it all feels like you're in the same like plaza.
Yeah, even when you're like falling into the sky and it's still all blue. LED lights aren't just blue. There's like pink, at least pink, purple, green, yellow. There's other colors to choose from.
I think a huge part of what the best level was as well is because of the villains. Like all Scorpion does is scream at you, while Hobgoblin's like taking the piss. Hobgoblin's making the public eye think that you're working with him. He's calling you partners. He's throwing pumpkin bombs and shit. Dr. Octopus is like having that banter with you the whole time. Like when she says, like, she gets in the big robot arm and Miguel goes, "You're going to need a big sling."
Yeah, then she doesn't let him finish the joke and he's fucking livid about it.
Yeah, like the banter between Miguel and that Dr. Octopus and just the Hobgoblin's cheekiness put them above Scorpion for me.
He had a lot of sympathy for him though, in the mission, especially at the end when he's like, Madam says, "You saved the day" or whatever. You won the day. He's like, "Really? Then why don't I feel like it?"
Yeah. So they
the only
can
time
write
he
some
was
good.
moody. It was the only
Yeah.
time he was actually not happy. I mean, you remember the intro, ready to save the day, looking good while doing it.
Yes. Christ. Even in this, where Scorpion gets the fragments and he's like, "Oh, you didn't say the magic way." It's like, shut up, bitch. This isn't how Miguel speaks.
And then he's depressed afterwards after he made fun of the creature for like a solid 30 minutes.
And then it's back to being full banter mode.
It was weird because it's like it was a step up for the hasn't sort of monsters, considering they did talk to him. And then, but it still was pretty one note, even their dialogue together.
Repeat that before, so we got a bit of static.
Like in the TASM games with the
Yeah.
monster villains, they don't,
Oh,
as
yeah.
you say a lot, they don't talk at all. But at least here
Big
there was some
mistake.
dialogue.
It's like with them Tarzan games. It's like the vet quipping as he puts down your dog. The thing can't retort back. It can't banter back at you, so it's not fair. You know what I mean? It's like being in a hospital with some like fella in a vegetative state and ripping into him. He can't defend himself.
It was just even weird how the police in obviously in 2099 it's pretty corrupt,
Oh yeah.
but they don't really help at all. Like you know, there's like giant monster, like a scorpion monster, and they'll still attack you, even though you're helping.
I even targeted the scorpions only for that bit. I was saying, like,
Yeah, and
obviously, we're still human. If this was happening, the humans would band together. And then they turned right on me, the little gets.
I use the you know that one where you can like web the gun and throw it into their face.
Yeah.
I use that all the time because it just one shots them, and I just find it way easier to do. It just saves me a massive headache with the combat. Although I hate when, if you take any sort of damage, you have to restart whatever you're doing.
Yeah. Well, as I say, dude, the Wii version's so shit for that. Because I have to like flip my wrist in a specific way to web his gun, and then I have to flip the remote the other way to spin it off him, and it's one a pain in the ass.
Who needs VR? The Wii was doing it first.
Literally, the Wii is good for Mario Kart, and that is it.
Wii Sports.
Right, whoever invented the nunchuck, bad in hell.
Are we adding him to the Panel Pals hit list?
Yes, he's was he the fifth member of our Sinister Six?
But who's our like? If we would have a Panel Pal hitman, who would we hire?
To strike at them, mate. Cool.
Maybe like Happy Miguel. Foggy Nelson in a Daredevil suit.
Mate, the key one. You know, he took down Gladiator himself. Foggy with his mutant frog powers.
I can't see. What's this fog? It's almost like this man is foggy nature and then Foggy Dead is like, well, it's funny you should say that actually.
Is that why Matt's blind? Because Foggy can't fucking Foggy's clouded his vision. The second he gets away from Foggy,
all the attractive women, so he's like, okay, you know what, man.
When Matt goes to San Francisco, he's like, oh, I'm not blind.
As soon as he sees, that's why when he went on the shield mission, when he had his sight back, as soon as Foggy came back, he lost his eyesight.
Yeah, second he laid eyes on Foggy in Superior Iron Man, he loses his vision again. Nelson, he's son of a bitch.
Have cracked the code. Was there Daredevil 2099?
There was from I think 2009's Marvel Knights, and it was a descendant of Wilson Fisk.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because while he's out being Daredevil, he then at the end of the issue goes home and does crime boss stuff. So he's both. He's the hero and the villain. Yeah, like I'm pretty sure he shoots a fella in the head on like the last page after getting home from saving the day.
So like, I'm guessing he's stopping crimes that would benefit his own business as well as like the Kingpin.
Surely. Otherwise,
and if he just like he sets them up and then stops them. Jameson was right. He is a menace.
What's the point of that though? Like, why? He must be stopping his opponent's crimes, like Hammerhead 2099's crime.
I love the idea that all these characters have a 2099 variant of just in the future for some reason.
Well, if Vulture can have one, surely.
Skip Westcott 2099.
Skip 2099, no. Pause Westcott.
He touches. You'll never escape.
What's the what do you call like a reverse paedophile where it's like they fancy old people?
That's just a hustler.
Like an elder file or something.
It's shocking either way, man. It's not good.
It's outrageous regardless, yeah. The whole bloodline. Hebophilia. Oh no, wait. Oh fuck if I know.
He goes after like Peter Parker and he's hundreds.
Yeah, it's Edge of Time, Peter, dude.
And no one's safe.
This is where you take off your mask, and I'm like, oh my god, it's Jonah Jameson or Skip Westcott.
If you could swap out any of these villains that we had for 2099 for anyone you want, who would you put? Like get rid of all three and then add different one. Like
all three.
Scratch.
Nice. Then I'd like more representation from actual proper 2099. I understand why they chose to do well-known Spider-Man villains instead of using Venture. But for Scorpion, I'd defo put in Flipside. You could even just have it say she's reprogrammed the robot or whatever. Vulture, I always seen as Miguel's like really like disgusted in him type of villain. You know, the cannibal vulture who's like he's like a biker fella.
Oh, the issue. I think I got the issue.
Yeah. I'd probably put him in just because he could replace Hobgoblin because he's literally got the wings, doesn't he? He could have the same gameplay. Yeah.
He can do the skydiving thing.
That bit in the book, mate, where Miguel, like, he knocks out Vulture and then he goes, no, I've just got to web him and stop him from falling to his death. And he goes to web him and then he thinks, no, fuck him.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine this Miguel doing that.
No, mate. And then for the Dr. Octopus one, if I'm swapping it, who else even is there for 2099? If you can't use Tyler Stone because he's just a man, who would fit?
Would you put Venom?
I think Venom's the only big spider villain who doesn't really appear in this whole game, isn't he?
I guess because they used the symbiote for one.
Yeah.
Even though.
Yeah, technically Venom's in it, but he's playable.
They could have just done a Web of Shadows and did that like sort of end boss with Venom where he gets the tablet and he's just a giant.
He's Godzilla.
Because they've already done that sort of in like the Electro boss fight, whereas that sort of set up
and the
where
Sandman
they got that
one.
waist from above. Yeah. Like waist above type boss fight. They could just do that with Venom.
I think I'd keep Doc Ock. I think she's a good addition to the whole overall world of 2099.
I found Tara Strong surprisingly not annoying.
Yeah, well, this was before she went all in, wasn't it? This was before Arkham City, so she hadn't been Harley Quinn yet.
They also reuse a lot of the voice actors. Like in the Doc Ock mission, you'd hear her talk shock about you, and then you'll have a lab scientist also be screaming to be saved, and it's the same person.
Oh, I spotted that.
Mate, they were so impatient. You'd be saving them, and they're like, "Save me, save me! Will anyone save me?" And you're like, mid-fight.
I'm holding you. I'm swinging you to the door. What do you think I'm doing?
Or even like, there were certain moments where they would get really smug about it, and I'm like, well, maybe I don't want to save you now.
Yeah, just put them back down in the acid goo and leave.
Yeah, it's like, well, shock you. Like, I don't want to save you.
Who would you have villain-wise instead of these?
Well, they had Carnage, so I would have said just put Venom in there as well.
Yeah. Who would he replace? Scorpion.
I feel like he'd work better as the monster type. You could have a bunch of symbiote goo if you want. If I was to replace Hobgoblin, I would just put Flipside because I would have really loved to seen him in the game.
Yeah, mate.
He would have been the most interesting one, I feel. Like, he would have just added the most to it.
And actually, that works because throughout that whole level, Hobgoblin's pretending that you're partners. And that was Flipside's whole thing. He was Miguel's best friend, wasn't he?
And then didn't he feel betrayed or some shit?
Yeah, because he catches him trying to look up how to shut him down.
Wasn't there that one? I remember one distinct cover. I can't remember what the hell was happening, but was there a guy on roller skates in the cover of Spider-Man 2099?
Roller
He was wearing like
skates.
green and it was weird ass. Let me get it up.
A lot of them in 2099 were just like, oh yeah, got him. What's his name? From issue 19. He's got like his own little spider skull logo.
Yeah. Is that
Who the hell is this guy? Right, this says Discord. I think his name's Discord.
They could have had him.
Oh no, that's some AI techno terrorist. But yeah, this guy, wasn't that Miguel? And he's like in a spare suit.
They could have had that as a costume. Imagine running
That
around
would
with
have been
that.
sick. Yeah, mate. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Miguel. What
It
is
looks
happening?
weird, yeah, because he's fighting. Is the other one System Clash where he's fighting someone?
That would have been a boss. That's a deep cut, that mate. We need more shit like that.
And Venom was pretty early on within 2099.
Well, they only had about 49 issues, didn't they? Only ran for 4 years. I've got up on the wiki page here all the covers. But I did
It sucks
recently
that-
read the Venom stuff.
It sucks that it would have been too like cheap of them to reuse villains. Like we couldn't have Vulture because
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
we've got him in Noir. Even though he
It's
was
a bit
dead.
sad. Yeah, they're like, well, shit, everyone's dead for him. So it's like, what do we do now?
46 issues Spider-Man 2099 had. But then it carried on in something called Manifest Destiny. But I'm looking at the villains here. He's got Namor 2099, who was I think he was Namor, who was a descendant of Namor. He's the one who floods New York at the end. The Green
What about
Goblin.
if they had the cowboy, and then the mission
Venture.
was like, but if the mission was like, you have to chase him throughout the futuristic city, and you have to go through it's like that Venom chase in PS1.
Sorry,
You're
lady.
jumping through
Didn't
buildings.
see a thing.
They could have done that shit where like you're getting chased, or it's like this massive sort of Wild West theme to it in the futuristic city.
Could have had Doom 2099.
They could have went like anyone almost. This like, it's still. I don't like the fact that Scorpion was a monster. It all
That
felt a bit
Time
cheap.
Storm was shit anyway. In the Time Storm one, Miguel was like 15 as well. They made him basically another Peter.
We never see Lila as well. There's no.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't even have a personal life.
Very grim.
There's not much when it comes to Miguel.
I think we've covered basically everything that needs covered.
What can we go on a
It's-
random tangent about?
Well, we've discussed Micah Sin 2099. Have you got any
That's
fun
honest.
ideas? I know we were complaining about Marvel doing it then. Oh, here's something for you. So, we all know in the future 2099, swear words have evolved. Instead of the usual suspects, everyone says shock, and everyone calls each other bit heads. But the shock thing's funny to me. Like, why shock? I think at some point between now and 2099, Herman Schultz does something so heinous, so disgustingly villainous, that his name is forever synonymous with being a fucker.
Well, what could he have done?
Like, oh, you're really
You feel like-
shocked at that one. And that slowly becomes, shock you.
Do you think he became like he killed the president or something, or like
He must have either done something
killed them?
nasty or great. Like
Him and Paul did genocide.
or like he saves America. Everyone's like, good shocking work. It just
Maybe
we
like
need.
we could make a story where it's Shocker's big day.
I said ages ago in one of my videos, like, if there was a Shocker 2099, it's the equivalent of modern Spider-Man fighting a villain called the Fucker.
It would be the best.
So imagine he's robbing a bank. He's like, I'm the Fucker.
Yeah, reading the comic book would be unbearable because all that stupid little
Oh yeah,
little
the
symbols they
asterisks
put in.
and yeah, the
I hate when they
outside.
don't. Mate, I hate when they put like a four-letter one for a word that's clearly not four letters.
I hate when they do it in general. Either put the word or don't have them swear. Like it just takes you
Oh,
right out of
mate.
the story when it's
The
suddenly
Chip
censored.
Zdarsky Daredevil run uses it all the time. Like it's so, it's just like I'm trying to figure out which word they're using.
Yeah,
Like
it stops
I
the
spend more
story
time
dead.
doing that.
Yeah. Which is why I like when they have like shock or in Batman Beyond where they all say shui. So like you know what it means, you know it's slang, but you know what it means. You can carry on reading. I'm not going to sit
Did
there
you
for
like?
10 minutes going, what is shock replacing here?
Did you like the Guardians of the Galaxy game? They said like Flark and Scut.
Well, I'm glad you brought something like that up because at the same time, when the writers are obviously just picking whatever word they think sounds funny, like in that Captain Marvel movie where the aliens called a flarkin,
Yeah.
that's just it's so weird, but that is stupid to me. Yet someone saying shock instead of fuck, that's fine. It's a double
Because
standard, but
no, it's because Flark is too similar, whereas Shock is more like its own thing.
yeah. But like
Shock.
it sounds, you can tell when the writer sat down and went, oh well, maybe they could say this, and when it literally took them 2 seconds to go, oh I don't know, what's a funny sounding word? Flarkin. There you go, put that in. That'll make them laugh.
So do you think like if 2099 got like a lost episode of the animated series and he was watching the Venom saga, and then you get that scene where Peter's like Shocker, and then you just like sit there and you're like, what is this?
Why is this cartoon rated 18? 13
Boy, he's
episodes in
mad.
and there's nothing. Oh.
It's funny how like even if they interacted and Spidey just goes, yeah, I have a villain named Shocker. He's like, what is he like? Is he a predator? Is
Is
he
he
on
like,
like a list?
yeah. I know about Skip.
Listen, Pete, I wanted to say I'm sorry about Skip. It's
The history books don't mention anything about a Mary Jane. Peter Parker's true love was Skip Westcott.
Could you imagine an Edge of Time if one of the capsules had Skip in them and he was just like wanted to kill him over and over again?
How much rejection's a boy meant to take? Skip.
Instead of chasing Felicia, you chase Westcott around the
Alchemax have cloned Skip Westcott and genetically altered him into the positions from the magazine.
Was I good, Peter? Yeah, just like the old Skip.
Right, so who have we got next time?
I'd say maybe we'll do Noir.
Yeah, because Ultimate, I feel like I'm going to go on raw tangents for Ultimate because there's so much of that universe to discuss.
And I was also thinking, because this intro would be using my voice, we could do your voice. Like,
oh, yeah. Nice. Spectacular.
Also, like,
amazing.
But just, we got Christopher Daniel Barnes and then Josh Keaton. We're so lucky.
Oh, yeah. We're onto the good Spideys now, dude.
I can't wait, because like I love replaying the Noir missions because I love the designs of the 30s New York set in a Marvel world.
Yeah.
So I can't
That
wait to play
Goblin
through them
mission,
again.
dude. The Goblin mission at the fairground is proper. It's creepy. It's dead cool.
I even love, the train bit where you're getting chased by the
Oh,
train.
yeah. Make
I
the
love
next...
seeing the newspaper thing. Like the Daily Bugle, what's it called?
Oh, like
Billboard.
the sign. Yeah, the bill. Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
love that.
that's right. Noir. It's just a fantastic setting. Like the whole world. It's from a... It's weird because obviously we live in 2024 and we're talking about the Great Depression, but the world of itself in Noir, it's just nice and like cozy.
I really wish we could have explored it more because you don't
Yeah.
get much of a chance to. And I really do hate that this game has like a timer on it. It ruins a bit of the enjoyment for me.
Yeah.
Because like, yeah, you can still take your time, but then at the end of the mission, when you see that just giant bronze medal, you're gonna feel like shit.
Yeah. I want to enjoy this cool new hammerhead and look around and explore, but nah.
I understand it's even a more linear game, but I still would have liked to have explored a bit. Make it a bit bigger. Let me go on the streets because it's sort of like in PS1 where you have to stay on a rooftop.
Yeah, that's a good way of thinking that.
But then in the sequel, they had it like, oh, you can go on the ground for a mission. Like that was sick. I don't understand why they couldn't just do that for a level. Because we only do once, I think for Vulture or Hammerhead, but it's still in like a train yard or it's in an alleyway. It's not the same.
Yeah, there's not, as you say, with the PS1 bit, there's not a lot of civilians about. Like, unless you're a hostage, you're just not out. It's like in Arkham Origins where it's Christmas Eve, but no one except the criminal element are out and about.
Yeah, it's like, especially in America, there's no way a snowstorm's gonna stop people from getting Christmas shopping.
Yeah, they'd be out shopping, they'd be out caroling. I know there's a blizzard on, but get a coat.
It would
But
be
literally-
funny if like you had to save a Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
This group of like a family just singing along, and then all these thugs try to attack them. You have to go in and stop them.
You stop the thugs before the family even know they're there, so they're there like caroling away, and in
Yeah.
the background, Batman's beating the shit out of them.
If like you do it silently or something, you get away with it. I forever love like that. I always mention it, but it's just so fucking random in a Batman game when they go like jingle bells, Batman smell. I miss.
Spectacular.
I really do wish we can get a new console Arkham game. I don't want to buy a VR headset just to play Arkham.
Yeah.
I want it for the console.
Oh, you know what, mate? I got soft locked on Arkham Knight yesterday because just while we're on the topic of Arkham games, where you go into the department store and like you have to take the Batmobile down the wall after you've done the cloud burst,
yeah.
and you get locked.
Yeah.
You get locked in an elevator shaft by a turret, and you have to use the Batmobile, crawl all the way down, and blow up this turret. There's no other way out.
Design though.
Well, I got halfway down in the shaft, turned off the fans, went back up to do some Riddler stuff, and then left the car at the top as I went down the elevator shaft myself. And the Batmobile was too far away for the remote control. So even the Joker commented on it, because like I flew down trying to use the disruptor or whatever to turn off the turret. It wasn't working. I couldn't even get it out, so you had to grapple back up. And when I went back up, Joker's up and he goes, "Hey, nice try though." You designed. Fortunately, the game's got its backup saves, so I could go back and I'd only missed 5 minutes.
I stopped Two-Face, and Joker was like, Tell me how. Is everything split down the middle or something like that?
Another reason to do
everything
everything. Before you go to Arkham with Scarecrow, do everything just to hear Joker's comments on it.
It was so lazy though, for the DLC not to have Joker say anything.
I think the funniest ones where you put the fire chief in the cell with all the murderers and lunatics, and Joker goes, breaking the law to help people? He's not nearly rich enough to do that.
The one that always just sends me really weird is just the him saying he shagged Talia in the afterlife. It's just so weird.
So listen,
Because that's
you go
Batman.
get Catwoman.
But that's Batman thinking it. Like that means in his head he's imagining it, which is just even more weird.
Or like when Joker's ripping into like Jason Todd. There's a bit again in the Arkham Knight's militia bit where he goes, how do you think they've got all your secrets, Batman? Do you think Oracle told them? Your sidekicks, mate. A little bit of torture and they crumble. It's like, the fuck? And he thinks Oracle's dead at this point. So, oh, shit, you know what, dude? I went back to where Oracle's meant to be dead. And Joker's in the chair pretending to be dead with like his tongue hanging out his mouth.
I mean, like, save for a few story issues, it was pretty funny throughout that entire thing.
Yeah.
I do wish they would have just... Yeah, I wish they would have maybe... I was watching someone debunk a lot of the criticisms, and it did make sense, but it's like... If barely anyone really understood the mission, like the story, then maybe they should have just tweaked it a little bit.
Yeah.
Imagine if you could play... I saw someone say, like, can you beat Arkham Knight as Jim Gordon?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
It's like a minute long, isn't it? He's like...
Yeah, because you can't Batmobile, you can't glide.
He's like, I can't come to the GCPD. So, no, you can't beat the game as Jim Gordon. He's like, if you made it this far...
My favourite bits of them in the comments where it's like, this is how it happened. This is how I died.
Even one person was just putting in a random timestamp and said that combo was crazy, and it's just... It would have been cool if Arkham Knight, what if Jim Gordon had to take over?
Jim's the one who takes down Scarecrow at the end, dude. One punch. That's all it takes.
It's also like Batman was tripping the entire game through the fear toxin, and then he takes a lethal amount, overcomes his fears mentally, and is fine. So, well, why didn't you do that in the first place?
Yeah. The Arkham Knight gets infected with fear toxin as well, but then he never shows any symptoms.
It's so weird.
It's like they forgot. When you beat up the Cloudburst, he then comes out, doesn't he? Because it's going to explode.
Yeah, but then it was weird because
He's
then Joker, it
exposed.
turned into Joker. And it's like... And then I was confused because, like, was he really there? Or did he just imagine, like, bringing someone out to bash them?
But then they make a huge deal about gas masks not working on this strand of fear toxin. So regardless, he must have got at some point, unless he was never in the tank, and it was always bullshit.
Yeah, because it's like, where could he have, unless he had a grapple hook, where could he have gone so quickly?
And if he was in the tank, that means he's definitely been exposed because he does have to leave the tank when it explodes. So the only way he didn't get fear gassed is if he was never in there to begin with.
I still think it's stupid that they never put anyone in the tanks.
I know, yeah. That's how you beat them.
We know how you think, and never ever once considers... he doesn't kill, so maybe we should put these, at least maybe hostages on the tanks.
There's one part of the game where a thug wears a suicide vest. Batman takes him down first, and then no one else in the game wears a suicide vest. He's in it once.
What about, was it charisma?
Oh, twice then. No, a random militia thug, you have to get behind him.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, I remember now.
I'm going mad about this. Killing Jamal here, mate. In the HQ, yeah.
Yeah.
They're having a meeting about how to take him, and he's going like, long as I'm wearing this, Batman can't touch me. That pacifist crybaby wouldn't dare take a light, even accidentally. And then Batman erupts from fucking behind him, unscrews all his suicide vest. No one else wears one throughout the game. It's like the enemy's in it for a second.
Well,
all these enemy
if
types.
He had, like, if Knight had a hit squad full of just depressed people, they all wore a vest, and you'd be like, screwed.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, then what are you going to do? What's even like the ending to Hush? Like, is he just going to be in a cell now in Wayne Tower?
Yeah, because the second Batman takes him to actual policemen, he's going to go, hey, everyone, Bruce Wayne's Batman. And everyone's going to go,
He should just do...
We know.
He should do what Daredevil did. Where he goes like, would you want to tell people you lost to a blind man? You just say, would you want to tell people you lost
to a rich man?
Yeah. A rich sissy boy. Is that what you want to tell everyone?
Like, I'm going to take advice from you. You've never been in a fight before.
I always hated that part of the Daredevil movie where he's like, I'm blind. People make fun of you in prison. It's like, well, one, they're probably there from Daredevil anyway, so they wouldn't give a shit. Two, he can still kill your family. Like, there's nothing stopping him from doing that.
We'll definitely look into that.
Daredevil next. We watch Daredevil soon.
We'll definitely look into doing like a movie review for that. But if you got any parting words for 2099, if the call allows us to get it through.
I hope it's not too shocking bad.
I'll put a disclaimer at the shocking good. I'll put a disclaimer at the start, like with the Dr. Octopus sexual assault stuff.
It's the most, I've been like so many people who watched that were put off like what the shock, like it's an episode about the animated series turns into that. It's like how our digital footprint is so weird.
2099 then could have been better, could have been worse.
Yeah, I think that it was still very important for the 2099 takeover that he had for a brief moment of time before he fell back into obscurity, sadly.
I think my only big issue with all the 2099 bit is the voice and the characterization doesn't fit Miguel.
He's just too happy.
Yeah.
I've read only a handful, and I barely remember the comics. It's been so long, and I still think it's just not. It doesn't feel right.
Peter David, I'm pretty sure the fellow who created Miguel O'Hara, has said at one point that everywhere Peter Parker zigged, Miguel zagged. Like, Peter gets his powers when he's a teenager. Miguel's like 28. Miguel's a bit of a talkative asshole,
like an
confident.
Experiment almost?
Yeah, it's an
Well, they were trying to kill him.
He's looking into giving people spider powers based off of Spider-Man by gene splicing, and then
didn't the people like have the intent? It's hard to talk with like the robot thing. It's like hard to time when to speak. But didn't they have the intent to like actually kill him?
Yeah, he tried to leave Alchemax because of the genetic experiments being a bit too grotesque for him. So they drug him and like get him addicted to this super drug. And then he goes to reset his genetic template on the machine he's created and accidentally splices himself with a spider.
I've got most of the issues. I might even just try to collect the full volume of 2099.
Nice. I've got the omnibus that goes to issue 9.
Oh, that's sick then. I've got the main issue. I don't have Flipside or the Venom #1, like first appearance, but I got like, issue 1 to about 20, and then I got 25, and that's it.
Nice.
But even just like
Flipside.
Yeah, but do you count ASM 365 his first appearance, or do you rather prefer issue 1?
I think issue 1. I would count
Because some
myself.
people go like, "Oh, the previews, like it counts."
No, that doesn't
But
count.
but I mean, I got both, and it's funny because when I bought 365 as a kid, I had no clue what it was about. I didn't know there was 20.99 in there. I just thought the cover looked cool.
Yeah.
They were so cheap. My God, like even when I was a kid, they were cheap. Those comics, the '90s ones.
This one with what's the word? Lenticular.
Like
It's like holographic.
yeah,
Nice.
it's got like Amazing Fantasies cover almost.
Yeah.
Because they did it for each issue. There was like a blue cover, there was a green cover, a black cover, and I think a red cover. Like versions for each title.
Oh, I remember they did that for
Yeah.
400, didn't they? When Aunt May dies, there was like 5 different covers.
Yeah, it's weird. That one's hard to like wrap my head around. But I mean, they did heaps of shit. Like, even Todd McFarlane's one had silver, it had gold.
Ooh.
Depends on the printing, I think. But I think that's probably all we got for.
I think we're best before the modem or whatever explodes. Whatever's happening with the voice, that'll be a good one. So next up, Noir. But before that, ooh, wait, when will this come out? Next, I think, if I'm right, is the Venom saga, because we would have just sat through Chameleon.
Venom saga.
We just couldn't
wait.
We couldn't wait for the end. We had to do Chameleon. He's too good.
And the Chameleon.
Venom, Hobgoblin. Ugh. Give me that Chameleon.
Yeah. And the Chameleon.
Always. How do we know that all these villains weren't just the Chameleon dressed up? Has he ever done that? Like blamed other villains for his crimes by dressing up?
He could have so done it. He could have just like framed everyone else.
What if every villain since, because he's the first baddie Spidey fights, what if every villain Spidey's ever fought has just been the Chameleon in a new persona?
Even if like the way they retcon everything was that Mary Jane was secretly the Chameleon.
Have you seen, I think it's Whatever Happened to the Cape Crusader, where Alfred's the Joker? It's like that.
Yeah.
Chameleon's like Uncle Ben, and he just wants Peter to be happy fighting crime. So he dresses up as all these different monsters and dudes.
That's canon for us now.
That's it, mate. Add it to the law.